Hey everybody, welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Today we're going to show you how to remove the shine from magazine and book pages. So when I'm using my magazine and book pages and my junk journals, I don't particularly like the shine that you get on the pages. And I've tried a couple of different methods to kind of tone it down, and this is by far the best one that I've found. So I'm going to take some time and share it with you. So all you need is one of three things. You can use Distress Collage Medium in matte. You can use Matte Medium by Liquitex, or you can use Matte Varnish, also by Liquitex. Now there may be some other matte finishes that will work just as well. I just haven't tried them. These are the ones I have tried, and they each give a little bit of a different result depending on which one you use. So we're going to go over that real quick, and I'm going to show you how to apply it. And that's kind of the key, is how you apply it. If you apply it with a brush, it does not give you the same effect as it does if you apply it with a makeup wedge. Okay, now I'm going to use a makeup wedge for mine. These are Target Up and Up brand makeup wedges. They're nice and firm. I use them when I do my stenciling, and they're one of the better wedges out there for using in crafting because they're just really firm and they don't fall apart super easy. I've had some last me up to like 2 years. So just treat them nice and they'll last you a long time. So here's what you do. So first get yourself a plate. You don't even really need a plate, but we're gonna put one out here in case I need it. I usually just put it straight on, but okay, we're gonna start with the collage medium, and I'm just gonna show you how to apply it real quick. So let me do it on this. So what I have down here is just cereal box liner, and it has a shiny side and it has a matte side. I tend to like to use the matte side, but you can use either side. I use the matte side because I also use this when I make my faux rice paper, and that side works the best. So it's just kind of what I always use, but either will work. Just protect your surface with something. You could also use your Magic Media Matte by Tim Holtz. I'm not using mine today because I already have a bunch of cereal box liner out here. So all you do is get your matte medium. This is the Collage Medium by Ranger. Okay, and you just apply it to your paper, and I like to kind of spread it on first, just a little bit, and then what you do, and here's the trick, you tap it. Okay, so you want to stipple this on here. If you stipple it on here, it cuts the refraction, it takes away all of those brush marks, and it gives you that perfect matte finish. Now you do want to do this in light, like a highlight, maybe off to the side or something, so that you can see the shine on your page and see if you've gotten all of it. Okay, because it's easy to miss little pieces and then you don't notice them until later, and it really helps if you just have a light off to the side and you look at it from that angle as you're doing it, and you will notice if you've missed any spots or not. You don't have to brush it like this. You can just dab it the whole time. If you are going to just dab it the whole time, just use the plate or something to offload it just a little bit. Otherwise you'll be fighting with that big glob that you just put on there. Okay, so that's all you do. And then where you've got your finger, a lot of times I will use just a little pointy tool to just kind of hold it in place while I get that last little bit, so that I don't have fingerprints everywhere. If you are using the pointy tool, just be careful not to pull it sideways or you might rip it. You just got to kind of watch it. But once you get it all on there and you've looked at it from an angle and you can tell you've got all the little shiny bits, then you are good to go. You can just let it dry. It doesn't take very long at all. It'll dry in like, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. And it's ready to use in your junk journal. Okay, so you can see how that looks. Let me show you if I can show you up close. Okay, well, this is still wet, but you can kind of see that finish on there. It's almost crackle-like. Okay, and this is what it looks like beforehand. Okay, do you see how shiny that is? So you go from that to this. All right, and this is still wet. It'll be even more matte once it dries. I'm going to show you a couple that are dry. Okay, so that's how you put that on. Now, let me talk about the differences between the other ones. I'm going to do this one with the matte medium just to kind of show you that they pretty much look the same, but I'll show you anyway just because, you know, it's good to know. The Collage Medium is the thickest of these options, and I think that's probably why I do like it, because it is thick. Now, the one thing I do like about the Collage Medium, it doesn't seem to stick too bad to each other. Sometimes when you coat these things with a matte medium or something, they can stick to each other. I find that of these three, that I think the matte medium probably sticks more than the others. It doesn't stick often, but certain pages will stick. I don't know what it is about them. And what I've found is if you have an issue with it sticking, then you need to use the matte varnish. That one won't stick at all, but it has a couple of cons that I need to talk about, and that is simply that it is a varnish, so it's going to make your surface waterproof, and that can be good, but it can also be bad if you're trying to paint over it or put any kind of distressing over it. It's just going to kind of bead off of it. So they go on the same. You don't want to use a brush, because if you use a brush, you will get lines, and the lines just do not look as good. But the matte medium and the matte varnish are both definitely thinner, so you do have to really use a plate or something just to kind of put it on before you put it on there. Otherwise it's too watery. So I just pour it out onto a plate or something. And I'm just looking from an angle, trying to make sure I have all of this covered. Like I said, it's really easy to miss just little bits. Okay, that looks good. But you can see how this looks a little bit wetter than the other one I did, even though this isn't completely dry yet. Okay, but when it dries, it will have a matte finish. It's just, it looks wetter longer, I think, for whatever reason. Okay, so that is the matte varnish. Set that up there, and then we'll do these little trees here with, or that was the matte medium. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let's do this with the matte varnish. So matte medium, let me move that aside. I don't want to mix up my plates. I'm trying hard not to mix them up. I don't think I grabbed that one. Gosh, now I'm gonna have to look back at the replay and make sure I didn't. I don't think I did. Well, this is the matte varnish, assuming I really used the matte medium on the other one, because now I'm second guessing myself. I don't think I did. I can tell when it's dry because water will resist, but I can't tell right now. Like I said, they all look pretty much the same when they're wet. So, and this is the matte varnish, and it goes on pretty much the same, but it is definitely wetter, and it does tend to, I think it curls more because it's wetter. As you're pouncing and it starts kind of leveling out, the curling does stop, but you just got to kind of work with it. And I think that, in my opinion, the varnish one tends to separate just a little bit more. So you do have to go over it more. Sometimes I put 2 coats when I do the varnish one because I think it just separates on the page, and then you'll get little bitty spots that aren't covered. So if you're seeing little bright spots between there that are still shiny, then that's what's happening. I don't get that with the Collage Medium. And even the matte medium's not as bad. I would say that the varnish is the only one that really does that. But you can see how it's starting to level out now a little bit. And looking much more matte. Okay, so let me show you that one. Get it off of here. Okay. So definitely toned down. Okay, so that is the varnish one. Now, this one's dry. This is the Collage Medium. It looks more shiny on the camera. I'm looking at the camera image. In person, it does not look that shiny. Let's see. I'm trying to find one to compare to. Here we go. We'll just grab these apples. All right, here we go. So you can see, I have to look at the light and where it's hitting. See how shiny that is on the apple there? You really get that reflection. But on this, you just get a little bit of shine. You don't get those bright reflections that you do without it. And it really does look good in person. I wish it showed up better on camera. But so let me show you the difference for your types, okay? So this is matte medium. The matte medium is made to paint over. That's its purpose. It is made to put paint on when you're doing like a mixed media project or something like that. Okay, so it accepts paint readily. So when that one's dry, you can this is watercolor. You can watercolor on, it will go on like normal. The Collage Medium from Tim Holtz is a little hit or miss. I found that my cheaper watercolors went on pretty good. They didn't bead too much. But my fancier watercolors actually beaded a little bit more. So that one's a little bit hit or miss. If you're going to paint over it, I would definitely go with the matte medium. But if you don't have the matte medium, the Ranger Collage Medium is definitely, I would say, second choice. Now, the Liquitex Matte Varnish, you cannot paint over. It's just going to bead up because it's waterproof. It's made it water resistant. I say waterproof, but it's not really waterproof. It's water resistant. And if I spray this, it's going to bead up, and it's not going to soak in, although the watercolor will. It's not going to soak into this page. Okay, it's reactivating my watercolor because the watercolor's on the surface. So, but these, if I spray them, it's not going to bead up. It's going to soak in more. This has a little bit of resistance to the water, but not very much at all. And then the matte medium doesn't have a lot of resistance either. It doesn't bead. Okay, this one definitely is beading. I'm trying to find a cloth so I can dry that off. So if you're going to paint, I would definitely choose matte medium to take down that shine. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. You can use whichever one you want. If you find it sticking to itself, sometimes when you put two of these that have been finished together and you leave them, they will stick. These are still damp, but they will stick. And if that's happening, then you can just put the varnish over the top. You can even use any of the others and then put varnish too. So if you find it sticking, just give it a coat of the varnish. It won't stick anymore. And let's see. Let me show you some of the ones that I've done and show you how the shine is taken down. So these little sheep, they're just a whole lot matter than they were. And depending on how thick you put it on there, it can look like a crackle finish. It just depends on how many coats you do. Sometimes it'll look, this one is a little bit crackly. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. I'm trying to get as close as I can. But it does have just the slightest little crackle look through there. So I probably had a slightly heavier coat. This is one with some watercolor after. And the watercolor can be added as long as you didn't use the varnish. Okay, so I hope that helps. You know, I love to do this, and you know, besides the fact that it protects it, it makes it feel a little bit heavier, and just it has a better feel to it than your plain magazine page. So it's a little nicer in the journal, and without that shine, it just looks, you know, more like a picture or something in there, and not, you know, just a cutout. Okay, so hopefully that helps. You know, try it out, see if you like it. But the trick is using a wedge and dabbing. Okay, if you brush, you're going to get brush lines. It's not going to give you the same result, and you won't like it as well. Okay. All right, guys, so that's our project for today, and y'all let me know how you like that if you try it out, and y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time on Elisa's Art Room.